This is about statecraft. We are going to talk a lot about silicon. That's been a big focus for you. But this move by China and one of its regulatory bodies to block this deal, how do you interpret that as strategy and statecraft on China's side?
Well, Ed, it's great to be here and great to be with the Bloomberg team. So I think this is just the latest example of how China's economic diplomacy branded itself to the rest of the world as being all about connectivity. And in fact, it's really been about coercion in practice. What we have done at the State Department is built an economic security coalition with 14 countries called PASILA. In January, I gave a speech at Hudson that really laid out the blueprint, and last week we announced a forward-deployed industrial base with our partner, or our oldest ally in Asia, the Philippines, which really is the beginning of the build, and we're incredibly excited to hit the ground running.
When we talk about China, and from a policy standpoint in this program, we talk about Belt and Road, the initiative. How is PASILA different? Why is the strategy through PASILA a better form of statecraft?
Yeah, so we are obviously building this effort with the benefit of having been able to study what China's done through the Belt and Road Initiative for the past 25 years. And the easiest way to understand the Belt and Road Initiative is it was China's attempt to build government-owned roads and government-operated bridges and railways with state-owned enterprises. The Chinese government has done this entirely in-house. We have a totally different model. We believe America's superpower is the power of its private companies and its ability to build products that delight and enchant billions of users around the world. And so we decided to partner with the private sector to really roll out platforms. The forward-deployed industrial base is our first major rollout that will be a platform for American companies in partnership with a strong sovereign partner in the Philippines. And ultimately, the framework that we adopted is a framework where both the U.S. and the Philippines have skin in the game and share in the upside of success. And it's that kind of positive sum approach that we hope to bring to all of our partnerships.
Let's discuss the Philippines a little bit more as a case study. Beyond its geographic position on the map, why is that an important partner? I guess if you looked at it through an economic lens or through a trade lens or a supply chain lens?
Well, we're very excited to partner with the Philippines because it's our oldest ally in Asia. It is a defense treaty ally. It's also a country that has very rich manufacturing capabilities. And so ultimately, that kind of...
This is the potential, the forward-looking bit.
The forward-looking bit, but they already today have a very deep manufacturing sector. And so the values alignment combined with the complementary industrial capabilities, we thought provide the Philippines with a very compelling value proposition as a first test bed for the forward deployed industrial base, as well as for American companies and for Filipino workers. So we're thrilled to be partnering with them, and we think American companies will be very excited to go there.
Undersecretary, this is the first opportunity we've had to speak, I think since CES in January, actually. But of course, in between, we've had the conflict in Iran, the war in Iran. And we spent a lot of time on this program talking about the impact to chip supply chains because of helium, for example, key stabilizer in the chip manufacturing process. Has that had an impact in the work that you were doing? Some of those Gulf partners are key to what you're trying to do.
Well, let me just say that we obviously, have made a very conscious decision to really double down on our partnerships with the Gulf. We work with them incredibly closely. I hosted the U.S.-UAE AI Working Group in Washington with my colleagues from the Office of Science and Technology at the White House, as well as the Commerce Department. Ultimately, one of the big takeaways from an economic diplomacy standpoint of the Iran crisis is really just the importance of de-risking single points of failure. Right now, we have a concentration risk across our supply chains, whether it's logistics, whether it's actuators, whether it's rare earth magnets, that remains unacceptably high. And ultimately, that really is the genesis of what PASILA is meant to address.
When the president meets with Xi Jinping, what's on the table as a point of negotiation or interest for both sides may well change. We spent a lot of time with you and other colleagues in government talking about the idea of whether China should or should not have access to leading-edge chips. But there's a software component to this as well. If we take the Manus case study, do you expect the president to bring that up and use the competence of Chinese AI companies on the software side as a point of discussion, or are we just focused on chips?
I expect the president to really walk into that room with maximum leverage and decision space. His national security strategy made abundantly clear that America will secure the inputs it vitally needs for its supply chains. And ultimately, President Trump has reshaped American economic diplomacy the way only an executive could. And it is really thanks to his leadership that this historic arrangement and partnership with the Philippines was made possible.